Welcome to the first episode of Let's Parlay, where we are here to encourage you to bet on yourself and attain the life that you aspire to achieve. I am your host, Monty Taylor, and without further ado, let's parlay. All right, first things first, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day from whatever you're doing. You might be driving, you might be on the road, you might be, just sitting at your crib on YouTube, browsing around, and you happen to stumble across this video or something. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch me and listen to me and tune in for this episode. This is the first episode that I am recording, so bear with me. It's my first crack at it. I have been wanting to start a podcast for quite some time now, so there's a lot of anticipation built up for this exact moment. And I just want to take some time to say thank you for listening. I want to thank God for just providing me with this opportunity to speak to you and to have your ear for a second. So I want to appreciate you for that. And I also just want to say that I do honor this time. I do want to respect the fact that you have dedicated whatever time that you're going to listen to this to hear me out, and I'm very excited to let you guys know what I have in store for this season, for this year. And I also think that there's going to be a lot of value that you're going to get from this, and I plan on telling you exactly why that is in a few moments, so hear me out. First things first, a lot of you may not know who the hell I am, and that's completely cool. What I'll say is this. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who have followed me maybe from Instagram, maybe from TikTok, maybe from Facebook, whatever have you on social media. Some people may be coming to this page because you're familiar with me from the time that I was on Big Brother, The Challenge. I had a little cameo on a daytime soap opera, The Bold and the Beautiful. That happened. I almost forget that happened. So anyway, just figured I'd bring that up. I'm sure nobody remembers me from that because it was all of like 5 seconds from 2 episodes. But nonetheless, I guess to just make sure that it's very clear, that time that I've spent in reality TV, I have since retired. Okay. And I have no intentions of going back. So I'll just clear that up now. But the main thing that is my occupation now, I am an online fitness coach and life coach. I'm the owner of Tailored Fit. And my main objective is just to help people discover what they're capable of through the process of loving themselves, right? Whether that be through fitness, whether that be through their mental health, their spirituality. That is my mission in life. And my coaching has been a great way for me to exercise that mission. And this podcast and this show is another way for me to flex that muscle and continue to put myself out there to let you guys know who I am and hopefully inspire you to make some positive changes in your life and work towards a life that you actually want to live. Okay, so that is a little bit about me. I can go into some, details about where I grew up and all that sort of stuff. I don't even know if you guys care about that. You can probably just Google it and have your way with that. I want to make sure that I'm using your time effectively, so hear me out. So I want to talk to you about why I named this show Let's Parlay. And there might be a little bit of confusion about the definition of parlay. First and foremost, I used to say let's parlay all the time. Like all of my homies who know me and who were around me when I was in my mid 20s, I'm now 29, but when I was in my mid 20s and I would just want to bring everybody together or want to discuss something, I'd be like, yo, let's parlay. And it was kind of like a slang term that wasn't really slang. Because at the end of the day, parlay, the definition of the word parlay, Parley, is to discuss, is to have a conference with two people or to confer with somebody else. So that is the true use of the word, is to have a discussion. But the other way that you spell the word, replacing the E with an A, that is more of a gambling term. And a lot of people might, I was always like thinking about naming this podcast Let's Parlay, but I was like, I think people might get confused and think that this is like some sort of like sports gambling show or sports betting show. But nonetheless, I hope that makes sense. But even in the gambling sense, it's essentially a similar definition, right? Where you can kind of use that word "let's parlay" in the same function in the same way. Um, just to give you a couple of definitions of the word, the gambling context is to bet an original amount and its winning on a subsequent race, contest, etc. The Cambridge English Dictionary defines it as to use or develop money, skills, etc., in a way that makes more money or leads to success. And then Webster's dictionary has it as to exploit successfully, to increase or otherwise transform into something of greater value. I think all of those are pretty powerful definitions, and I think they could be used very applicably during this show. So either way you splice it, uh, the reason why I named the show originally was just because I used to say that all the time. And in this context, I just want to have a discussion with you. I just want to chat, and I want to hopefully inspire you to understand a little bit more about yourself and some of the decisions that you've made and some of the decisions that you may be fearful of making. So that is a little bit of the background on the name. As far as what I'm looking to accomplish with this podcast, I want to make it very clear that I am in no way, shape, or form an expert. I'm not coming to you trying to tell you how you should live your life or the best way to do it. I'm just going to be here to share my experiences, share a few tidbits from my life personally, what I learned from them, and then hopefully inspire you to understand how that could apply to your own life. So I hope that it never comes across during this show as if I'm trying to tell you what's best for your life. And, you got therapy for that, you got friends and family for that, hopefully the right friends and family. And we'll get into some of those conversations as well, too. But really, what I'm hoping to accomplish is to let people know that it's okay to bet on yourself. It's okay to take risks. And as a matter of fact, I think it's very much a service to this world to do that, to take risk and to put yourself out there. Because I feel like there's a lot of people that I have come across that are just living a life that is so confined. They have things that they're really passionate about or really excited to do or have just been curious to explore and have never done it and still have no plans to do it. And for someone like myself, that boggles my mind. That's something that I have a hard time understanding. And what I hope to do with this platform and with these conversations is just to let you know that it is completely normal to take those risks on yourself. And as I mentioned earlier, it's also a good service to this world because now we're actually exploring what your true capital is to this world, what your true capabilities are. Whereas if you're stuck doing a 9 to 5 just to survive, or if you're working and doing menial jobs, or even if you're running a business that you don't even feel like is something that you are truly dedicated to in your heart of hearts, you're doing a disservice to everybody else that comes across you because they could be experiencing the best version of you doing the thing that is best served for your talents and for your capabilities and for your experience. So to me, that is exactly why I'm here. I'm really hoping that everybody who listens in and tunes in is able to just kind of look at themselves in the mirror and think about, okay, am I actually doing what I want to do? Is there anything that I've done in the past or haven't done in the past just out of fear? Have I just been kind of told that I should go down a certain pathway because that's what my parents said, that's what society is expecting from me, that's what I got my degree in? All of these different examples of reasons why people just decide to not do the thing that they actually want to do, I just want to throw those out of the window because all of that is just a ball of confusion that's going to keep you where you're at, as opposed to really sitting down and meditating on what exactly you want to get done in life and how you want to get it done and what it will make you feel or how it will make you feel to actually do those things. So for me, that is my biggest thing that I want to accomplish. I want to show you guys that it is completely possible and it is completely normal. For me personally, I can share just a little bit about myself and my story and why I feel like I have somewhat of an authority to talk about taking risk. I had worked as an engineer for 2 years right after college. I got my degree in mechanical engineering at the University of Delaware. Very thankful for that experience. I met a lot of great people. I learned a lot of great things. I have friendships and brotherhoods that are gonna go until the day I die. Praise God, because um, there are just some great connections that I got from being at that university. So I never want to downplay the fact that I got my degree and I worked and earned for it. However, the thing that I realized is that I went into college kind of looking to get the best job after graduation. I was also looking to make the most money after graduation and just provide the most security. I think it was pretty well understood that my mother was like, you going to college. It's just a matter of what you're going to study. So that was well ingrained in my head. And I'm thankful for my mom putting that in me because, who knows what else I would have decided to do otherwise. But once I got into engineering, I started to realize pretty quickly, like, okay, I think this is more of something that I'm interested in as perhaps a hobby that I would do on the side of what I'm actually passionate about, but not something that I could go into work and do every single day. I remember like I had internships throughout my college career, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, every internship was like, yo, this this ain't it. The next internship, this ain't it. The one after that, that ain't it either. And I'm just sitting here like shuffling my cards, like, okay, well, what's the next play that I make? And after graduation, I had been really interested in possibly working for a car company like a Ford or General Motors, to essentially design cars and get more into that space in the automotive industry. But then I was like, am I really that passionate about it to move to Detroit at the time? I mean, this was 2017. It wasn't necessarily the best time for the city at that point to be, a 22-year-old moving there. And I was like, I don't think I actually want to do that. So I wound up picking up a job locally in Delaware, and something that was kind of safe and secure. And throughout my time as an engineer, the more time that I spent going to work, the more and more I felt depressed, the more and more I felt like I'm not doing what I actually want to do. And the crazy thing that happened was, with time, I realized like, okay, maybe I can just stay within this company, but try something that's a little bit more aligned towards my skill sets. I always found that maybe I could be more of a people person. I like to have conversations. I like to, make people smile, make people laugh. And I thought for a second, like, okay, maybe I can go into sales, because if I can use my technical expertise to sell technical products with my personality and with my charisma, maybe that'll work out for me. And right when I made that change in my career, that's when the pandemic rolled through. And for me, I was like, all right, well, this is just the worst timing. But it turned out to be the perfect timing because it forced me to stay at home and do a lot more reflecting. I don't know about y'all, but I was saving a lot of money. All right. I paid off my car. Shoot. I started investing a lot. I don't know what the rest of y'all were doing. A lot of people were spending a lot of money on Amazon and ordering stuff. I was not. I was keeping it pretty simple. I had a small one-bedroom apartment in Philly at the time, couldn't have been no more than 500 square feet. And I was just in my little cocoon, doing my own thing. And eventually I decided, all right, well, I want to start working on my body. Like, let me do something productive while I'm here in my crib with nothing else to do under these lockdowns. And at that point, I discovered my passion for fitness. And I realized, like, oh, wow, like I can go through a body transformation just with my own willpower and with my own design of a program and make a change in my body. And I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming. And it was something that I found myself to be super passionate about because people started telling me about the changes that I made within myself. But when I looked in the mirror, I still saw myself as the old version. I didn't see myself as somebody who was, you know, 15, 20 pounds heavier of muscle and, in better shape and all that sort of stuff. I didn't really experience that internal confidence until it was externally validated. I'm saying all this to say that I discovered a passion for something at that point. And right when I did, I started questioning everything. I was like, all right, well, I'm really passionate about this. Maybe I should explore this a little bit. Like maybe I should just put myself out there to see what it would be like to help others accomplish the same thing. And from that point forward, I just took on a part-time job as a personal trainer at a local gym. It wasn't necessarily exactly what I was looking to do, but it got me in the game. It got me in that space to understand, like, all right, what is this actually about? And right from the jump, when I started doing it, when I started connecting with people, when I started hearing them out about their problems and their issues, I immediately was like, this is closer to what I need to be doing. I know that I have this whole degree in engineering, and I know I have a whole job that's paying me handsomely and giving me a comfortable life, and especially in my mid 20s. But I also thought, well, if I don't do this, I'm always going to wonder what life would have been like if I would have actually pursued something that I was passionate about. So it took me maybe about a month or two to decide that, yo, it's time to kick rocks with this job and it's time to move on. And at that point, I was in a relationship. I was living on my own, but I was going through a lot of like mental battles of, okay, I know I want to do this thing, but I don't feel like I'm in an environment where it's encouraging a lot of this. I feel like I kind of just have to like just put my head down and say, screw what everybody thinks, I'm going to do it. And a lot of people would probably assume that I was crazy at the time, or just stupid for making such a decision because you're leaving something so comfortable and so safe in order to go into a world that was completely unknown. And when I say unknown, I didn't have any idea what the hell I was going to do in the fitness space. I was like, all right, I know I want to help people. I want to help people get in shape. I didn't know if I was going to be like a personal trainer full time. I didn't know if I was going to start some sort of business or service. I just knew I just needed to get out of what I was doing and get into the game. Now, in future episodes, I definitely want to talk to you about how to prepare and how to make that the best move and the smartest move. I didn't do things perfectly. I had saved up about 6 months worth of cash in order to sustain myself just in case something happened. But everybody else has different ways of going about it. But that's what I did. And I decided to quit my job. I remember the date exactly, which was my last day at my job. It was January 10th, 2022. And right after that, I went to get my certification for personal training. And then after I got my certification, I winded up stumbling upon the idea of online fitness coaching, and winded up investing in some mentorship in order to, teach me how to do the whole damn thing. And I went ahead and started that business officially in March and was getting clients and doing all that sort of stuff. And then from there, it just seemed like it was the happiest time that I've ever had. I had never been so content with what I was doing in my life. I just woke up every morning with a purpose. I don't know about y'all, but I'm an early bird. I wake up at just an ungodly hour nowadays. It's probably around 4 a.m. most days, and sometimes it's even before that. You don't got to do that for yourself. I'm not trying to get you to live my life, but that's just what works for me. And that was the first time that I had done that pretty consistently while I was also outside of the corporate environment working purely for myself. And man, I felt lockstep with God, man. I just felt like every time I came back home after the gym, or every time I got done with a meeting with one of my clients or posting something on social media, it just felt like so purposeful. It felt so freeing. There was some excitement, of course, because you're like, man, like I don't know what's gonna happen next, but like I feel like something good's happening from this. And lo and behold, after running my business for probably only like a month or two, maybe a month and a half, I winded up posting some video on TikTok. And I know why it went viral now, and it wasn't viral. It just got a lot more views than my average TikTok did. I probably had like maybe, 100 followers on TikTok at that point. After I posted the video, it got like 70K views, and then I had maybe 1,000 and some change or something. So the video went up for some reason. The reason why I think it went up is because I took my shirt off a little bit and flashed my stomach, but that's all hearsay. Um, so yeah, that video went up, and then I got a DM from a casting director asking if I was interested to be on the show Big Brother, and I was like, "What the hell is Big Brother? And do I need to bring a little brother? Like, what's the concept of this? I don't watch reality TV. I had no idea what the show was about, and I remember at that time thinking to myself, like, okay, like maybe there's a reason why this was brought to me at this given time. Maybe I was supposed to be presented this opportunity so that I can grow my platform, so that I can help more people with the mission that I've set out for myself, for helping people discover what they're capable of through the process of loving themselves. And I was like, you know what? Like, this could be an opportunity for me to go on a nationally televised show, be my true authentic self, honor God, and be uh, as much of an example of what being truly present in your own like mission is, and pursuing that every step of the way. So I remember writing all the affirmations that I wanted to say to myself while I was going into the show. I just remember going through this whole process and realizing that, like, yo, like this is going to serve a purpose. I'm just going to pause there on the story because the rest is sort of history. I wind up going on the show. I get this close to winning, this close to winning. Well, maybe not that close. I mean, shoot, I think the jury vote was 9-1. I only got one vote. But either way, I was sitting in the final two chairs. So I was the runner up of the season. And after that, winded up moving to LA, and then got invited to film for the show The Challenge USA, which aired on CBS, which was season 2 of that show. Dude, I can't even talk. Um, and then after that, I realized, like, okay, after doing 2 reality TV shows, like, what do I want to get into next? And then I had a whole period in LA where I had experimenting with the idea of being an influencer and partnering with different brands. I experimented with the idea of getting into acting and going into the entertainment industry. Like I said, I had that cameo on The Bold and the Beautiful, and people were like, "Hey, Monty, you look like you might be able to act." And I said, "Well, maybe I can." And it was another one of those sort of FOMO decisions where I was like, "Well, if I don't pursue this, then I'll always wonder what if I would have pursued it." All that to say that I went through a crazy journey after making one decision to commit to myself, one decision to quit whatever it was that was my standard and prescribed pathway to life, and go down a road that was very uncertain, that was very unclear on what the actual results of that decision would be. And I think at the time I was like naively just optimistic. I just had a lot of belief in myself. I had a lot of trust in God that, yeah, everything's going to work out. But I do understand that for folks who are out there, it could be a very, very just scary decision to make for yourself, and a very scary, thought process to even exercise in your brain, because you're like, yo, like, I'm going to be risking a lot. I'm going to be putting myself out there. And I think there's a real question of, what are you actually risking? And that's what I want to get to. That's what I want to get to, and that's what I want to talk about in this show, and in communicating with you guys throughout the time that we have together, is what's really the risk? Like, are you actually risking that much? Are you gonna die if you jump off, and not of a real ledge, but if you actually jump into the unknown of your career and of the pathway of your life, is it really gonna end in complete turmoil? It may feel like that, just because of our primal instincts. We essentially form up so much anxiety and fear towards something that it's like our body replicating our response to death. But that's not the reality at all. And that's what I want to emphasize here on this show. So that's just a little bit of my story. That's just a little bit about me and how I came to be where I'm at right now. Again, I am not going to sit here and say that I am an expert in anything, but I'm currently living in Austin, Texas. I have my own apartment and I run my business and my coaching services to the best of my abilities, and I do just fine for myself. And I've come a very long way throughout this entire time from when I first made that decision 3 years ago, which is crazy to think about, to now, where I'm at a level of understanding and perspective to where I think I can actually help others come to a similar level of understanding and perspective too. So that's a little bit about my intentions behind all of this, and I hope that that makes sense. The other thing that I'm realizing too is that there are a lot of people who are struggling with making these sort of decisions. So, if it's anything, I just want to be an example of somebody who did make that decision and could be an example for you to look to and to possibly find other examples of people who have done similar things, because it is quite a bit more normal than you actually think it is. It's not as rare as you think it is. Um, so yeah, so that's what I hope to achieve with you guys. As far as expectations of the show, I just kind of want to lay out what the format will be and how I plan on approaching this, just so you know what to expect. My commitment is to drop 30 episodes in 2025. All right. So whether it's, every week or bi weekly, doesn't really matter, but 30 episodes are dropping in 2025. I'm expecting the frequency to be weekly for a certain period of time and then bi weekly as needed, just given holidays and all that sort of stuff. But uh, we're still figuring all that out. This is episode 1. And for me, that's kind of a testament to how I approach things. Is I don't ever really feel like I have it completely figured out when I start something, but that's the beauty of the journey, is that we're going to find out together. And I hope that me even doing this show and releasing this to the world is a testimony to what I'm preaching. I'm taking a very large risk by putting all this time and energy into this, investing my money into this opportunity to speak to you guys. And I'm just hoping that it works out. It might or it might not. Oh, crap. God damn. Beautiful. Well, one thing that I'm learning is that my camera apparently has a max recording time, and I reached it. I didn't think that I was at 30 minutes, but apparently I am. So my apologies, but here we are. Um, like I was saying, I just wanted to lay out the expectations. We're going to be dropping 30 episodes this year. This thing will be dropped bi-weekly or weekly throughout the seasons of the year. And the other thing that I want to mention is that I am completely open to the idea of having guests. So if you're somebody who just wants to be on this podcast to have a conversation, my intention would be to understand a little bit more about your path in your life and whether you've taken risk and what those risks have yielded in your life, whether life got better as a result or whether you learned something from it. That's something that I want to have a conversation with you about. And also, I'm hoping that I can have conversations with people who are open to the opportunity of talking about some risks that they may want to take or some things that they may be fearful of at the moment. So I'd love to have those types of conversations with folks too. Otherwise, I am also open to, hopping on other folks' podcasts and speaking about my journey and my pathway. But, at the moment, that's really what I'm hoping to accomplish, is just to have great conversations with people and to mainly have great conversations with you. So we'll start off solo for a bit, probably have a handful of episodes, maybe even the majority of the episodes be solo, and then at some point have some guests come on so that we can have some fun conversations. I feel like that's probably where I'm going to thrive the most. Like right now, I'm struggling. I'm not the biggest, like, I don't like to talk at people all that much. And that's what it feels like I'm doing right now. and I'm just trying to keep myself together internally, because in my mind, I'm scrambling, but I'm trying. And here we are. So either way, that is just what to expect moving forward. I hope that you have enjoyed this time that you've had with me for now. This is just episode number 1. We're going to get into some more meat and potatoes with some episodes coming up. And I'm hoping that each episode can round out to be around 30 minutes. If I have guests, of course, it'll probably be a lot longer than that, maybe like an hour or so. But these episodes, under 30 minutes, something that you can listen to on your way to work, or just as something positive to consume. And I'm hoping that it's impactful in your life. And more important than anything, I'll be remiss to not mention this. I do want to make sure that I continue to be an example of someone who honors God, and I hope that I can honor the time that I have with you as a result of that as well too. So I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everything that I've been blessed with, and I just want to say that that's a very important thing to mention, and a very important part of my own journey in discovering how I even got to where I'm at. There's been a lot of blessings. So hope that allows you to, and look back at your life and think about all the blessings that you have. And I hope that you also enjoyed this time that we've had together. This is my first episode, y'all. So if I didn't get you now, I promise I'll get you episode 2. All right. Or maybe episode 3. But we're going to get better and better, and we're going to have fun. And most importantly, I want you to come out of this experience just feeling a little bit better about whatever it is that you're fearful of or struggling with. All right. So without further ado, that is the conclusion of the first episode. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Let's Parley. I hope that you've been encouraged to bet on yourself and pursue all that life has in store for you. God bless, and have yourself a great day.